My name is Dirk Mccomas, and you've been watching Struggle Beyond the Decade. To all the veterans out there, to my brothers and sisters, it's not the end, all right? Your life is way more important than anything that you got going on, all right? And I encourage you, get out on the mats. Get on the mats and train. It's gonna make you feel a whole lot better physically, mentally, and it'll help you get your mind off of everything you got going on.
For me, jiu-jitsu was just there at the right time. It kept me physical. It kept me doing something. It kept me thinking. It's like jiu-jitsu is like chess. You know, like you move your piece over here, there's a consequence for it. If you move it into a certain piece's direction, or if they can have this many moves ahead of you. So, and then you learn how to use all the pieces together. So then you're thinking in your mind, and you're not thinking about the problems anymore. On my quest to find veteran perspective and ask the difficult questions about veteran suicide, I had my work cut out for me, but my goal is to find alternative communities of veterans that are finding hope and motivation to be leaders in the rescue of those who stand close to the edge. For this final episode, I wanted to share something unique as a part of my own healing process. I wanted to host a jiu-jitsu seminar on Veterans Day that can be used as a communication platform about how movement-based activities like Brazilian Jiu Jitsu can be a positive part of a healing process when dealing with disabilities. Now, whether those disabilities are physical or emotional, jiu-jitsu can be a catalyst to free scars of the past. Depression and PTSD can leave one's ability to reconnect, repurpose, or transcend into unfamiliar territory. You see, culturism can be very difficult, and jiu-jitsu does more than just give you a reliable self-defense technique. It also helps with getting your mind off thinking about things from the past. It gives you some technical solutions and some mechanical resolve. Its philosophies and foundation prove that we can defeat a bigger opponent, or in a different perspective, a bigger problem. So I help organize and create this seminar, Evolve, define the struggle and grappling for a new chance. So stay tuned as I show you a little bit about the art of jiu-jitsu and head out to Columbus, Georgia to meet up with longtime friend and professor Jason Keaton. Tagging along this time, cast member from episode 4, Aaron Cooper. So look forward as we roll hard into the final leg of the season finale of Struggle Beyond the Decade. That's why I drove the black one today, man. My truck sucks on it.
Oh, with the stick shift, yeah, I get like, depending on where I'm going, but like into the city, I get like 38 miles to the gallon, so it's huge. Oh, yeah. All right, that's that. You said? I think so.
Picked him up at the Slim Jim.
Got the Slim Jim right here.
Oh yeah!
That's one dimension.
There's a lot more.
We got it working now. See? Is it all the way going? Is it going? It's going, right?
Yeah, I think it's counting down. This is Jose. He's my cameraman. Well, at least the only person I can get on short notice. He's got zero experience, but he's a ton of fun. Plus, he's my boy. I just hope Aaron doesn't choke him before we get there. You see, Aaron is an anti-conspiracy theorist. He doesn't believe the moon landing was fake or that 9/11 was an inside job. And he's ready to debunk the Flat Earth theory. So here's what I know about the Flat Earth theorists.
Members of the Flat Earth Society claim to believe that the Earth is flat. Walking around on the planet's surface, it looks and feels flat, so they deem all evidence to the contrary, such as satellite photos of Earth as a sphere, to be fabrications of a round Earth conspiracy, orchestrated by NASA and other government agencies. Well, we're somewhere in Tennessee, filling up on some petrol. Grab myself a Baconator, watch all my troubles let go.
I don't know why there's no different scientists that ain't figured it out.
If I believe it as firmly as they say they believe it, I'm going down there. I'm finding a guy with a boat, and we're gonna sail that way, man. I'm gonna film it. I'm gonna expose the whole thing, and I'm gonna be like world famous, right? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you be the guy that debunked it? If you really truly believed it the way they say that.
They did, man. You got all you need is $10.
Wait a minute. What did he just say? Man, we gotta bring that
Why
back.
wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you be the guy that debunked it? If you really truly believed it the way they say that.
They did, man. You got all you need
Now
is
that's a challenge. Sounds like all I need is $10 and a spirit level.
Hey, Jose. This out here, this ketchup is the ketchup ball. And that's what keeps all the water on the earth from pouring out into the outer space. And then the sun's just out here and it just kind of does this and chases the moon.
Oh,
Yeah. But if it wasn't for the ketchup ball, game over.
That's, man. There was a bomb underneath this.
Are you,
That's it.
are you awake?
Oh, I'm wide awake now.
Okay.
Only glory holds Batman.
You're watching Truth Speakers. Investigation Flat Earth.
Okay, so I told Aaron that I would get to the bottom of this and figure out whether or not the Earth is flat or round. So I'm here at True Value. I'm gonna go in there. I got my $10. I'm gonna go in there and pick up my my level, my spirit level, and put this to the test to see whether or not the Earth is flat or round. So here we go.
Hey, welcome to True Value. What can I be of service to you today, boss? You need a furnace filter? You need some new screwdrivers? Oh, what level?
$22.98 total, sir. Thank you.
All right, as promised, to determine whether or not the Earth is flat or round, I got my spirit compass right here, which is a level you can see. There's the bubble in the middle. I'm going to drive down the road here and see whether or not the Earth is flat or round. Here we go.
The vehicle increased its speed to 60 miles per hour, yet the bubble in the spirit level showed minimal movement. Although the vehicle experienced some turbulence, the level returns to the Earth's flat surface, showing no curvature whatsoever in a presumed 20% grade, proving the hypothesis that the Earth is indeed flat as a pancake.
Well, that's it. 60 miles an hour for 18 miles with a 20% expected curvature from my destination, from where I started to where I ended. I'm convinced the world is the Earth is flat. It's not what they've told us to be in all of history. So you global earthers out there, you bubble earthers, round earthers, I'm sorry. Do yourself a favor, spend the $10 at your local Home Depot, True Value, and get you a spirit level. See for yourself. Yeah, right there it is. I mean, you ain't gotta be a genius to know. Enduro Brothers, Aaron Cooper, if save yourself a trip to the other end of the world. You're just gonna run into Antarctica, frozen wall. So I hope y'all are awake. Hope you enjoy the experiment. Go out and try it yourself. And I'll see you later. And it's ironic kind of how it all worked out, but with the seminar being about disabilities, it's about bringing a community together, because there's something about a camaraderie that comes involved when you're in a gym, or if you're doing CrossFit or whatever else, you're doing some sort of activity where you're in a team environment. And that's something that we're accustomed to too, is teams, small teams. So you start developing a brotherhood. And when you kind of go through some of those trials that you face, the adversity in jiu-jitsu, it just makes this a kind of a perfect combination for people that are dealing with war trauma and missing a brotherhood and not being able to kind of beat out some of that ego, like sometimes men hold that ego so strong in them that they're not so easy to come out about their problems. One broken headlight, one flat tire, 0 sleep. It was time to start the seminar. Today's seminar will be at Jiu Jitsu Columbus, hosted by 3rd degree black belt and my friend Jason Blind Fury Keaton. Let's take a look inside.
I suggest you try it again, Luke. This time, let go your conscious self.
Hey, what's going on? Oh, you're awake.
I am awake now.
This is USAC's over here?
The old
building system that no one worked.
Yeah.
Where there's asbestos chips falling off the ceiling.
Yeah. It was
like,
awesome.
You're safe to work here, but you should definitely shower and clean your clothes and stuff before you take it home to your family. But you're safe.
Yeah, there's like really large cockroaches in there. I remember. I was like,
that's fine. They're good rolling partners.
just for a light roll. They actually clean the mats while they crawl across them. They're actually doing work, so leave them alone.
First, I wanted to talk to a couple people attending the seminar that had something to say about how jiu-jitsu changed their lives. Okay, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right, my name is Dirk Mccomas. I was medically retired last year, from the Army, and my last duty station was Schofield Barracks, Hawaii, with a 25th ID. And I am a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
My name is Jon Townsend. I've been in active duty service for 17 years. I'm currently at Fort Rucker as working at survival school. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for the last 10 years. I started jiu-jitsu in 2001 with modern Army combatives. After combatives, I came back from my 3rd deployment, looking for the brotherhood in the community when other soldiers kept moving out. I didn't have that brotherhood. Somebody introduced me to jiu-jitsu, and I've been sticking with jiu-jitsu since.
All right, I'm Michael McDaniel. I'm a Chief War Officer 5 in the United States Army. I've been in 21 years. Currently still active duty, stationed at Fort Rucker. And my current jiu-jitsu rank is I'm a 2-stripe white belt.
My name is Jason Keaton. I am the head instructor and owner of Blind Fury Jiu Jitsu Columbus in Columbus, Georgia. I'm a 3rd degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
The perfect technique is one without much effort, or conscious thought applied at the right time in the right direction, the right amount of force, spontaneous reaction to the opportunity presented by the opponent's movement.
Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is a grappling and self-defense art made famous by the Gracie family. I really first learned about it in 1993, like most of my peers, when Royce Gracie won the first UFC championship. And I was doing Kung Fu at the time, and I was simply blown away, but it did click to me that, man, this is the way, people should fight. It made a lot more sense to me, so I slowly started making that transition.
I got introduced through the Army Combatives program back in 2006. I'd done martial arts pretty much my whole life, since I was about 7. Started off in Kung Fu, got into Muay Thai, and then I had been sent to a combatives course, and I walked in and I was like, what is this stuff? Everybody's laying on the ground, what is this crap? How come I've never heard of this? And then I was like, whoa, this is awesome. I should have been learning this a long time ago.
Sergeant Chappelle, now he's out of the Army, introduced me to jiu-jitsu, got me that brotherhood. Once I started doing jiu-jitsu, and they seen that I wanted to stay and I wanted to grow, they started bringing me in to that second family. So then I learned jiu-jitsu, but it also helped me talk to others, felt comfortable. They started bringing me in, so it felt like that family that I could talk to, and I have no hesitation to talk to, that they wouldn't take it elsewhere.
The merging of a healing art is like that of a butterfly escaping from its cocoon. What was once a trap is now only a shell from which one flies free.
I started working with the military in 2004. One of my friends asked me if I would be interested in teaching combatives, and I had no clue what that was. So he brought me to Fort Campbell and showed me the program. He's like, oh, look, it's just jiu-jitsu, man. Come on, you got it. And I was like, cool. So I started helping him, and I started working with the soldiers that were, the guys were coming back from deployment, guys were going to they were deploying, and that was my first real introduction to the military culture and soldiers also. It was, it changed my life, obviously, because I still do it to this day.
Tell me a little bit about maybe some of the impacts that you've seen from soldiers and how jiu-jitsu has helped them become better people.
Well, I tell you, it's when jiu-jitsu, I mean, I'm sure people say this all the time, but it gets you into your body and out of your head better than anything else. Because in jiu-jitsu, you have to be in the moment. You can't be, if you think about something else, then you're going to not get your goal, whether that's, escaping or passing the guard or whatever. So it's like a really deliberate, it's like meditation. It's like meditation. So as you're moving, you're not thinking about anything else. You're in the now. And I think that's why people are so addicted to it, because they're like, wow, I feel way better after training than I did before training. So what was it? And I think it's because that, they're living in the moment. And then that enables them to help, that helps them with some of their other issues. And then if you're in a good school, which most, honestly, most jiu-jitsu schools are, they're the bad in my mind are far and few between, that, you have a sense of community. So it's not just like going to the gym. I'm sure that going to the gym is fine and maybe that gets you out of your head, but going to jiu-jitsu, you have people there that are happy to see you, and you're happy to see them too. So when you have that to look forward to the end of the day, and you know that there's people that will help you with your problems, and that there's people that will, be there for you, especially if they're a veteran, that is a tight-knit unit. That is the people that they're bleeding and sweating with, and that's something that they have to have, because, that's what they're used to. That's what they're used to. That's what, when some of these guys tell me about going to war, it's like the best time and the worst time of their lives. It's like, man, you're fighting every day, and, you're getting shot at, but you're with this tight-knit tribe that is, literally your brothers. And I know that, they're fighting and fighting hard and doing that for them. So when they come to jiu-jitsu, I think that it clicks to them that it's the same, So with my school here, it's such a blessing to have so many veterans and service members, because, they understand, that. And, they make this place a wonderful, special place. So I couldn't have a special school if it wasn't for our soldiers and our veterans, because, they're all team players. They understand what it means to be part of a team, but they also enrich it with, that understanding of making it a real tribe.
An act on instinct.
With the blast shield down, I can't even see. How am I supposed to fight?
Your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them.
So, the thing about being somebody that is disabled and doing martial arts is, at first, with jiu-jitsu, it was easy. Obviously, we used to box together, so, when I first got into boxing, people were telling me not to box, not to do those things. It's like, basically like you're a frail person, don't do this. And I was stubborn, and I felt like I had a blind chip on my shoulder. So I had to do it. Because you're telling me I can't do it, I have to do it now. So I think when somebody has a disability, you know, and it's different when you have something and you lose it versus never having it at all. Like I've never been, you know, if I was never a millionaire, I don't feel bad about losing, you know, never having $1 million. But if you have $1 million and then you lose it, it feels worse. Okay. So I think with somebody that loses an arm or whatever, they're going to have to, or a leg, or, you know, 2 legs, or use of whatever, they're going to have to really learn how their body is functioning now. And as, you know, I've seen guys that are, you know, amputees or paraplegic get involved in jiu-jitsu, or people that are visually impaired. You know, it's perfect. It's perfect because it's not what you can't do, it's what you can do that's important. And everybody's going to be able to do something. So whether it is, yeah, maybe you can't see well, that's not a problem when you grab somebody and, you know, you could feel everything. You know, well, what if you can't use your arm? Well, I mean, Kyle Maynard doesn't have arms or legs, and he's, you know, a beast. He's literally not, you know, let that hold him back. He said, I'm going to figure this out. And he did. And that's what it's about. You know, you're going to figure that out. You're going to figure out how to do it. You know, whether it is something that is, you know, maybe physical, or maybe it's an emotional disability, or maybe it's some type of something mental that's holding you back. You know, you're going to be able to work around it, and you're going to be able to work through it. So don't think that just because you have this limiting factor now that it's always going to be a limiting factor. Hell, it might be your biggest strength you don't even know about. So for me, I am so happy that I can't see well. It's given me such a good advantage because, one, maybe people underestimate me. They underestimate me because you know, it's like I sometimes don't look like I'm reading things up close, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. And it's like, you know, I don't always look like I'm visually impaired, but sometimes I totally do. And they look at me like I'm some, you know, weirdo sometimes. They don't understand. But I tell you, when we get on the mat, the story quickly changes. And, you know, they underestimate me, and they're like, oh, I'm going to take it easy on this poor baby. No, man, you better freaking run for your life, because I'm going to get you.
The soul's quest never comes to an end. The development is never finished. We're always traveling.
I've done the, you know, one-on-one therapy with psychiatrists and psychologists, and I've done group therapies and anger management and coping skills, all that. But in all honesty, the only thing I found that really worked was jiu-jitsu. It allowed me to have the camaraderie that I was missing from being in the military. It allowed me to have my mental challenges and my physical challenges, both that I was missing. You know, I have a lot of physical injuries that I deal with, but I've learned to adapt my rolling style or my jiu-jitsu style around my injuries, so I can still do it. I may not be able to train every day, but I can still get on when I need to, you know. You know, we can use it as almost like a holistic approach to treatment. You know, as more and more studies are coming out and you're finding out about all these pharmaceutical problems, you know, like when I first started going to the VA dealing with my PTSD, I had 15 different medications taken at once. And I even had a couple reactions because we found out that the medications don't work with each other, but the doctors weren't talking. You know what I mean? And it was killing my body, and I felt it. I felt like I wasn't myself, you know, and my wife noticed it, and my kids noticed it, you know, and for myself, I stopped taking all the meds and just started training more jiu-jitsu. It helped. I don't know that it will help deal with the actual PTSD or the actual problem, but it will help deal with the symptoms. It's going to help deal with the anxiety, the depression, the suicidal thoughts, the things that people are actually having an issue with. It's going to help, you know, it's going to help them. It may not help with the fact that, you know, it's not going to take away the things we saw or the things you did or the things that you had happen to you. It's not going to take it away, but it helps you deal with the symptoms of those things.
Seeing fellow soldiers, friends that I grew up with, pretty near and dear. You don't have those people to talk to. And at that time in 2001, really until about 2011, 2012, people look down on you for seeking help, and we thought it would take you out of what we love to do. So that it kept a lot of feelings inside. You didn't have those people to talk to. So jiu-jitsu was that outer, it took me out of the picture of what was going on in my life and had me focus on something I love to do, and then learn, and then I use that to help other soldiers. And it eases the mind and eases the tensions that you can actually talk and actually get through things. And most of the, more or less 100% of the people that I do jiu-jitsu with, they don't look at issues that you have, and they help you better yourself, what gives you more self-confidence and a look at life.
When I left the soft community and the camaraderie and the sense of brotherhood I had there, it was instant finding that in jiu-jitsu. I walked in the door, I knew people cared, and I would say that jiu-jitsu as an outlet is, when you walk in that door, is the sense of camaraderie and brotherhood, and people genuinely care, like, about you, not just on the mats, but off the mats and what you have going on in your life. And with a lot of us there at the gym, is I've been able to share my experiences, and guys, whether either military or law enforcement, they've been able to share their experiences with me as well. So I think it's a good outlet where you can kind of feel like you're comfortable enough to be open with people, and then also have that sense of people building you up. People want to see you do well. People want to see you exceed. They care if you're there or not.
So once you've returned back from deployments, around how long did it take before you started recognizing some of the signs and symptoms that you were kind of struggling, now that you're looking back on it?
Really, it was after the second deployment, but I let it go for so long. I started drinking, started being a social outcast from other people. Only wanted to be around the people that I was serving with, or that I had the hard times with. But then once people started leaving, I didn't have those the same people, because PCS moved to different duty stations, and you lose that central balance of yourself. I started drinking. I'm married. At that time, I had 2 kids, so my wife told me I needed to seek something because things weren't going well at home anymore, losing sleep. I seeked out mental health through the Army. Really wasn't going too well because of I didn't like it because of the rank structure. It was still a military thing. It didn't let me get to the root of the problem. And in that time, I was stubborn and young. Those people weren't there with me. They don't know what I was talking about. Then I started digging more into jiu-jitsu, and those people with jiu-jitsu, we had that common bond, other than the people that I served with. So it started helping me there. And then my professor at the time, Bogger Ramos from ATT, he had some people, behavioral health, that trained with him. He seeked me to that person. So we also had jiu-jitsu, me and that behavioral health specialist. And then, so we had 2 things in common, so it really helped.
After the second crash for me, I was referred to our regimental psychiatrist, and and mind you, this was 11 years into special operations flying, but she posed one question to me that really took me back. And she just asked me, she goes, "When was the last time you've done something for yourself?" And such an easy question, but it was really difficult to answer, because I reflected on, being in special operations for 11 years. It was always about the mission. It was always about the deployments and doing something bigger than myself. Raising a family. I was doing everything for my kids, sports, motocross, etc. And so when the psychiatrist, when she asked me that, I didn't have a good answer of when I had done something for me. Shortly thereafter, I actually, decided to take a knee, if you will, and we left the regiment. 11 years was a pretty good run, being in the soft community, and we came to Fort Rucker, and that was a time that it was time for me to do something for me. So, kind of come back to the first question is I found jiu-jitsu by wanting to do something for myself finally.
Jiu-jitsu is for everyone. Once it's broken down for the certain individual, for the certain disability, or even mental stuff like PTSD, you find that outbringing like I did, and they get that group atmosphere to bring you in as a team. A lot of people get out of the military and they don't have that team, or even people that are in the military like me, you PCS, the situations that you were in at the time, those people are gone and long gone, and it sucks to the days that telephones are not the same thing. People are saying that they're there, but talking to people on a telephone isn't the same as talking to people in person. And then jiu-jitsu, it gives you that edge, and it leaves that ego at the door, and that edge that you're doing, you're learning something, you feel that accomplishment, that you set those goals. It's just like the military. So you set the goals in jiu-jitsu, you go after those goals, you chase them, and along that journey you have those friends that are going there with you, that helps. One, that you're going to be able to talk to those individuals because you feel that team and that knit together, and then another that you're learning the moves, or you're chasing that next dream, just like you are in the military for that next promotion. It's the same thing in the military. You're trying to advance yourself, make yourself better, make others better, and then you're chasing the dream of one day being a black belt.
This is the way to find success in one's soul quest. Through the practice you shall find purpose, not just through verbal expression, but through the manifestation of daily physical wars.
So with veteran suicide at an all-time high, how can unorthodox practices like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu be helpful?
For jiu-jitsu, for suicide, it gets your mind away from what's going on at the time. It gives you that drive and passion. Most people that I've dealt with, I lost a lot of friends. More on the home front than, sorry.
That's right.
We lost more people here than we did overseas. And that's because they lose that family, and then they're focused on that one thing. If jiu-jitsu gets your mind away from what you're doing, and builds that community back. And they need to stay focused and get into something instead of dwelling on what happened. What happened is something that's significant in our lives, but you have to drive on.
I immediately have to start letting go. As soon as that came back, I felt
Stiff
the
arm
difference
with
for
big
sure.
chest.
Okay.
Guys, that's all I've got for you. Next up will be Mr. Chad Morgan.
I came from a family full of guys who have been in the military, and I've seen it firsthand how the struggles they go through, and the demons they try to harbor inside, and don't want to let them go. And I've seen them turn to pills and alcohol and drugs, and I've seen jiu-jitsu itself change so many people because they feel like they have meaning again. They feel like they're a part of a team again. They don't lock those wiggles up. Everybody has those wiggles inside that you've got to let them out. And with jiu-jitsu, it's a healthy outlet to let those wiggles out and feel like you're a part of something again. Feel like you can you don't have to just let go and let your past just always creep up on you. Turn to things that are negative. You can turn to jiu-jitsu, where it's as I say, we help each other consistently, on and off the mats. It's a lot of the guys there, they're not just my friends, they're my family. And it's a way to get that bond back, no matter what your disability is. I have a brother that, he has PTSD, he has, a bad back, legs are bad. And just every time I turn around, he's consistently, his main goal is he's trying, I'll work with him at his house, but he's trying to get to where he can, come in and train on a regular basis, because he sees, he feels that he's not holding it in. Like he can release, those built up angers and the built up frustrations that he has, from, turning from a warrior into a civilian. That's a big change for a lot of these guys. And, with jiu-jitsu, it's a healthy way for them to be able to do that and, feel like they're part of something again, and feel like they're be a part of a team, be a part of a family.
Come in and try a class. You'll meet tons of people. You're going to meet tons of people. You're going to already be a part of a family that's already there, bonding and growing every day. And you'll learn some things. You'll feel more confident about yourself before you walked in there. You walked in there, you might have had your head down, maybe you've been a little nervous. You have a little bit of anxiety about the space because it's unfamiliar. Soon you'll be welcomed by people. Those people aren't soldiers, but most are trained like that because that's the way the traditions of martial arts goes. There's discipline, there's ethics, there's values, there's principles. And that's why it relates to the soldiers so well. So he's already a part of a brotherhood. He understands that they're all fighters. They're all operators. They're all soldiers. They're all warriors. So it's all like-mindedness in there. And when you have a good leader in the room, no matter what belt he is, the belt is another thing to explain. But when you have a teacher, a professor that's in there and cares about his people, he's going to welcome you, and he's going to bring you in, and he's going to help change your life. That's why I would tell a veteran to try jiu-jitsu.
I believe that, more seminars, being able to actually have it where it would be, prescribed by doctors. Not only, it's a way to increase your strength. It's a way to decrease, your depressions, to become part of a team, to work on your flexibility. It's basically, rehab, but it's not just a rehab that you go see some doctor that stretches your leg. It's something that can last a lifetime. And I honestly believe, it's been proved. They do it out in California a lot. There has been doctors that prescribe jiu-jitsu to people. I think that should literally, be something that should be looked at. Instead of taking all these guys, all these warriors that's been over to some, godforsaken place fighting, to just have to turn to a VA that just feeds them full of pills, and they're forgotten. At least, they can turn to something that's positive, turn to something that they can pass on to other people. To me, that's the biggest thing is passing it on, taking what and then passing it on to people, and to be able to pass it on to, these warriors that give us the freedoms we have today. It makes my heart feel full.
For the swordsman is afraid of his own shadow. He must find the light through the movement of energetic movement to the scars of war.
What's your current perspective on veteran suicide?
Well, I think that it's horrible, of course, and that we got to do something about it. And I don't think an app is going to get it done. I think inspired leadership is what's going to need to happen. I think that means that we have to go from the very top all the way down to every local community. I believe we should have what I would like to start called the Strength and Sanctuary campaign. And I believe that we can lead 24-hour fitness, Gold's Gym, every jiu-jitsu academy in America, rock climbing, canoeing, you name it. If it's a healthy endeavor, yoga, it doesn't matter. That those doors should be open to our veterans, because those veterans are in your community. And I think in the next 2 years, we're going to launch that and get it going. And then it's just a matter of, like I said earlier today, when you're on a drop zone at night after you parachute and you come up to someone and say, "Who's this?" They say, "It's Specialist Jones." You know where you're going? Not for sure. Stay with me. And we just scoop up our guys, and then with all this talk, it is true that they don't care what someone knows until they know that someone cares. And so we have to roll up our sleeves, can't wring our hands when we're rolling up our sleeves, and we have to point to point, person to person. You can't save all 22 today, but maybe one, you know. And if we all work together, then we're going to take that number down. We're going to take it down not because we run out of people who want to kill themselves. We're going to take it down because we're going to lead people not to want to kill themselves.
I mean, well, it's tough. I mean, you know, I don't know what the answer is. You know, I don't know what the real problem is. You know, I mean, you know, we have a high amount of veteran suicide. That is, you know, I mean, one's too many. You know, I don't know if it's 22. I don't know if it's more, but one is too many. So, I mean, for jiu-jitsu, I mean, if you know somebody that's a veteran, get them involved. You know, even if they're not a veteran and they need to get them involved, in my opinion, because, you know, it's that sense of that tribe that, you know, is we're all missing in our lives. So, one, you know, I don't like suicide at all, you know, and I really don't like veteran suicide even more. So, I think just getting them involved, making sure you're talking to them, you know, doing push-ups and all that stuff's fine, I guess, you know, but that's more about you than it is about helping a veteran, you know. So if you really want to help a veteran get involved in jiu-jitsu and they don't feel like coming and doing it, go to their house and pick them up. That means you care. That means you really support them. You know, doing push-ups on Facebook, and that's looking at me. That isn't helping anybody, okay? Go to their freaking house, pick them up, call them, you know, get them excited about coming to jiu-jitsu. Hey, man, I'm going to be there at 6:30. We're going to go to train, and then, you know what, we can hang out afterwards if you want. You know, be their brother, be their sister. That's what they need, you know. They don't need you to do push-ups and, you know, talk about it, hashtag this, hashtag that. All that is bullshit. Go to their house, pick them up, make sure they're on the mat. If they miss a class, give them a call. Call them right after class. Don't wait 2 days. Give them a call. That's what I think we should do as a jiu-jitsu community to ensure that our veterans, you know, are becoming part of it, because that is real support. That isn't just, you know, that isn't just the veneer of support. That's real support. Okay, so Aaron, thank you for doing this. Thank you for the filming. Yeah, it's really important for us. We did the event. We did raise some money for charity, which is awesome. But the documentary is going to, a lot of people are going to see it. And our hope is that they see what jiu-jitsu has done for our veterans. If they have a disability, hopefully they won't let it stop them. And you know, whether that's emotional or physical, and they'll get on the mat and they'll find their own little tribe like we have here. Okay, so thank all you guys for coming. And that's it. Thanks. Hey guys, best shirts out there for sale. $20 a pop, man. You better get them. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Have fun?
Yep. Cauliflower ear, raining cauliflower ear.
No, my ear, no, we got
cortisone shots.
Well, as the season ends, I've learned so much about veterans and the ongoing struggle with veteran suicide. With 22 a day, I feel positive and confident that that number will decrease as veteran support projects and alternative support communities and sanctuaries like Brazilian Jiu Jitsu can establish a footprint and help work veterans away from toxic treatment plans to more developmental programs fit for a warrior society. The fight is not over. We need legislative and governmental decision makers to help find financial and grant-based opportunities so veterans can start taking care of their own. Thanks for watching Struggle Beyond the Decade.